This is a video showing you how to replace the front wire harness for the Edikani 3000 watt dual motor e-bike. What we're basically going to do is we're going to completely remove all the front wiring, and I guess it's got to go all the way back to the new motor controller. That's what we're doing today. First thing we need to do is we need to remove all the covering for the wire bundles. So there's typically 3-4 of them. So this one's undone. So just remove these by just pulling them off. Now that all the tie wraps and bundles have been removed, we can start unplugging them one at a time and plugging the new one in. But before you do that, as always with the e-bike, always discharge your battery. So even if you remove your battery, you want to make sure that you turn the power on and wait for the screen to go away before you start plugging anything in. Now that the battery's out, if you turn it on, you saw that it just blinked for 1 second. That shows that there's still electricity in the system, even though the battery's been removed. Always do that before you start plugging or unplugging anything. So now I'm basically unplugging one wire at a time from the old unit here, and plugging in one wire at a time on the new unit so nothing gets mixed up. Now I've got everything put back in, plugged in. When you're plugging all the wires in, definitely double check the pins and make sure that there's nothing bent and that you're lining them up right the first time. So now all I got to do is, all this has been replaced. Now pull this out right here. And then we're going to have to get the wire from the controller. So I'll undo the little tie wrap things here. I'm going to have to undo the controller again. I've already replaced the controller. And then find the wire. And then it comes down and up. And I guess it's up in that wire run right there. It's welded in there, so you're gonna have to fish the wire up and out and then drop the wire down. Alright, so that's next. Okay, so down here, first off, we've got a tie wrap right here. Get it cut, and then if you kind of loosen the wires up, hopefully pulling on this wire will show which wire. I think it's this one right here, but it's not moving freely, so that means it's caught up in here. And it's real tight. That's probably what the problem is right there. Those wires are smashed up in that channel. All right, let's keep going. This wire is so tight. I mean, listen to the resistance behind there. I don't think there's any other way of doing it but pulling the battery mount out. So I'm going to undo these Allen keys and see if I can't get some slack, because there's no way I'm going to be able to feed the new wire down that tray and pull it through there. That's just too tight. So I'm going to undo these, pull this out, and see if I can get better access to it. Now that the battery receptacle's out of the way, it's much more ability to move the wires, but you can see that is where the problem is. once you remove the controller, you can just get some slack in the wires. One that has to be unplugged is this circular one right here, so it's not like you can get it confused with anything else. So we're going to basically unplug this, and we're going to try to pull this wire up, and then I don't know how we're going to get that other wire down because it is really tight in there. All right, here we go. Okay, so now we got all the wires put back, the little containment thingies back on there. Everything's plugged back in. I put an extra tie wrap down here because, again, all those wires being right there where, you know, rocks and stuff come up. That's really stupid. The hardest part was getting the wire to go down through. They welded a little metal piece that the wires sit on top of, that the battery sits on, and that was the hardest part, was getting that connector down through there. That was very difficult. It took about 20 minutes just to do that. Okay, well, now the moment of truth. We're going to put the battery in, we're going to fire it up and see if we got error 2 to go away.